بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم أما بعد. All praises to Allah. We praise Him, we beseech Him and seek refuge in Allah from the evil of ourselves. Whomsoever Allah the glorified and the exalted guides, then none can misguide them. Whomsoever Allah the glorified and the exalted misguides, then none can guide that person aright. I bear witness and I publicly testify that none has the right to be worshipped in truth but Allah, and that Muhammad ibn Abdullah is his slave and his messenger to proceed. Alhamdulillah, we are continuing our series of lectures from the book Iqtida Sirat al-Mustaqim, following the straight path, لِمُخَالَفَةٍ, by going against, diverging from Ashab al-Jahim, the people of the hellfire. And today we'd like to continue where we left off last week, unfortunately, because of the time, I kind of rushed our discussion on bid'ah, on innovation. And we gave a long introduction why we need to always talk about bid'ah. To begin this discussion, I would like to contextualize it with a hadith of the Prophet ﷺ. You're going to need pens and paper today, because there are lots of details. Okay, pens and papers. So take your phones out, go to the note facility to write. There's a lot of detail here today. The Prophet ﷺ said in a hadith that's been collected by Imam Muslim and narrated by that illustrious Sahabi Abu Hurairah radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, when he said, Bada Islamu ghariba. Islam started as a strange thing. وَسَيْعُودْ كَمَا بَدَأَ, and it shall return as it began. غَرِيبًا, strange. فَطُوبَى لِلْغُرَبَى. فَطُوبَى, glad tidings, but Tuba is a tree in the Jannah. Who? لِلْغُرَبَى. Now we have had in our country sects, groups call themselves Ghuraba. And they're not Ghuraba, they're Ujaba. They're strange people. Not strange people in the sense of being weird. Not as in being Gharib. They're Ujaba. People who are weird. Not people who are Gharib. And so we see Islam, the religion of Islam, started strange. It was the call to Tawheed amongst people who committed shirk. It was the right, correct way amongst people who were bent. Something we seem to forget, that the Arabs in the time of the Prophet ﷺ considered themselves to be following the religion of Ibrahim ﷺ. They didn't consider themselves to be following a strange religion. They considered themselves to be on an Abrahamic faith. But indeed their Abrahamic faith was distorted by shirk and fables and stories and culture. And so we have to always keep this in mind. Because when you follow the Sunnah, you'll find yourself somebody who is strange, who's different from the other people. The way you pray, when you go to a masjid where the people have adopted bid'ah or adopted culture, the way you pray seems strange. When everybody's silent, you say Ameen. It doesn't mean if people don't say Ameen, they're people of bid'ah, by the way. But so many things about your salah are strange to them. Ankle bones to ankle bones, strange. Hands upon your chest, not at your side or on your stomach, strange. After the salah, it's Assalamu alaikum rahmatullah, Assalamu alaikum rahmatullah, wa alaikum salam. Where you just do dhikr. I told you last week I went to a masjid in northwest London, or in fact it's West London, and straight after salah, they were singing Anashid, Sallallahu Alaihi Rasul. You know Sallallahu Alaihi Rasul? Yeah. So I was singing Anashid, I was like, whoa, where did they get that from? Straight after salah, in congregation together. And these people believe that this is something that's praiseworthy, something that they earn reward for, but it's not from the religion. And if we remain silent about bid'ah, what will happen? As we see today, what happened? You go to some Muslim country, everything about deen is upside down, inside out. Because it's based upon culture, traditions, things that have been interpolated from culture, from other people's culture, which people take. There was a book I remember. It said, similarities between the Hindu religion and Islam. Subhanallah. And many things. If we look at the religious ceremony pertaining to marriage, many things will be taken from Hinduism that the Muslims practice.
That's right.
Many things. And not just them, other religions. If we look at marriage in respect to many of the Arab world, they've taken on the culture and traditions of the West. The white dress, which is quite ironic. The white dress symbolizes virginity. And you have people, they've been girlfriend and boyfriend for 20 years and they get married in white. It's a kind of paradox if you ask me. Things like the ring has no basis in Islam. And it'd be one thing if Muslims bought a ring, £500, £1,000, but they're just going out like these people here, these rap stars. So when this rapper gets engaged with his wife, he buys her a ring for 40, 50k. Can you imagine that? A ring, 40, 50k. That's just the engagement. On the day of the marriage, he pulls out the full Monty. A ring, Cartier ring, 150, 200,000. And that's a cheap ring, by the way. 150,000 diamond ring is a cheap ring. It goes well above that. You see some of them, they spend like £1 million on a ring. Subhanallah. £1 million on a ring. Can you imagine that? And so, we have to keep in mind the danger of, if we don't be careful of bid'ah, we'll creep into our religion, our understanding and practice of religion. The word bid'ah comes from the Arabic language and from the root consonants of bada'a, bada'a. When we say bada'a, we mean to bring something into existence, or to bring something, to start something, or to create something. Allah tells us this word bid'ah can be found in the Quran. And this word bid'ah, it means something that is the first of it. The first. There's no precedent. There's no precedent for it. Allah tells us in the Quran in Surah Al-Baqarah, بَدِعُ السَّمَوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ, that He is the originator of the heavens and the earth. Who created the heavens and the earth? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Up until recently, the scientists believed that this earth, the planets were eternal, always there. That a man by the name of Hubble, developed some telescopes. Looking through his telescopes, they realized that the planets had a beginning. Look at that. Who made these planets? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Were they there before? They weren't there before. Allah is the originator of them. In respect to this verse, the great and illustrious Imam Ibn Kathir, he said, meaning, خَالِقَهُمَا, that He made them. Made what? The heavens and the earth. عَلَى غَيْرِ مِثَالِ سَبَقٍ. Made them without anything resembling them previously. Allah made them, brought them into existence with nothing resembling them previously. And Mujahid and Sudayy, two illustrious scholars of the Quran, they said, وَهُوَ مُقْتَضَى اللَّغَةِ, and this is a linguistic meaning. مِنْهُ يُقَالْ لِشَيْءٍ مُحْدَثٍ bid'ah. And it is said about something which is new, that it's an innovation. So this here, بَدِعَ السَّمَوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ, means that Allah originated something, brought something into existence, and it was nothing like it before. Nothing like it before. He brought it into existence. Also we find the same understanding, the linguistic understanding of the word bid'ah in the verse from Surah Ahqaf, the 49th chapter in the 9th verse, where Allah says, مَا كُنْتُ بِدْعًا مِنَ الرُّسُلِ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us, the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, I am not something new or original from the messengers. Meaning, as Ibn Quthayr, he said, Lastu bi awwal al-rusul. I am not the first of the messenger. Allah sent messengers to previous nations. From those previous nations, who is a messenger or prophet that Allah sent to the people of Egypt, ancient Egypt? Who are they? Who was the messenger? Musa. He sent to Israel. So nations, Allah sent messengers and prophets to previous nations. So was the prophet the first? No. This is important. Why is this important? Because if you go to Bluetooth, what they call it YouTube, you find people saying, look, Muhammad is a prophet for y'all. He's your prophet. But he's not our prophet. Our prophets in the Bible, they are prophets. You got your own prophet. Now some Muslims will say, yeah, look at that. We got our own prophet. Is the Prophet ﷺ our own prophet? No. He's a prophet for all of humanity. And not only that, he comes in a long succession of prophets. And he's the last of all the prophets. Alayhim as-salatu was-salam. And so, Ibn Kathir, he says, meaning, Lastu bi awwal al-rusul. Taraq al-alam. So I'm not the first of the messengers that have walked upon the earth. Bal qad ja'at rusul min qabli. Indeed, there are messengers who came before me. Allah sent messengers before him. He's the last of the messengers, sent to all of mankind. And this is important for another reason. Was Isa alayhi salatu wasalam sent to the people of Bangladesh? No. Was Isa alayhi salatu wasalam sent to the people of Western Europe? No. Even in their Bible, Jesus said that. When a Canaanite, according to the Bible, it said a Canaanite woman came, Canaanite person came to Jesus and he asked Jesus for something. And in the Bible, it says, not that we believe it, he said, how can I give the bread of the children to the dogs? Look at that. That's what it says in Matthew 24. How can I give the bread of the children to dogs? And the Canaanite woman, I think it was woman, she said, sometimes the dogs eat from the crumbs that fall off the table. Look at that. Look at that. So in their Bible, it shows their God has been contradicted by a lowly human being. But this is what they believe, not necessarily what we believe. But Isa was sent to the Bani Israel. He wasn't sent to everybody. He was sent to the Bani Israel. Our Prophet ﷺ was sent to everybody. To the Arab, to the non-Arab, to the black, to the white, the people in America, the people in England, the people in Spain, Japan, everybody. He's not an exclusive prophet. And so, he comes in a long line of successions of prophets. However, there is a legislative definition. A definition according to Islamic law, to the Shara. And what is it? It is, as the great Imam Ash-Shatibi, who died in the year 790, and he was an Andalusian scholar, a scholar of medieval Islamic Spain. Medieval Islamic Spain. A heritage we should be proud of. We should teach our children this. Our children know nothing about their history. When I say their history, their Islamic history. If you were to ask them questions, who is Tipu Sultan? Who is Tipu Sultan? They have no idea. If you were to ask them, I could ask them, Shah Walillah al-Dahlawi, who is he? No idea. And it's important we teach them, it's their history. The history of India, Islamic India, is not just for Indians to know. The history of Islamic Afghanistan is not just for people from Afghanistan to learn. It's for all Muslims to learn. And this is a very, very serious problem with us as a ummah, that we've neglected our history and we've adopted other people's history. And so, the Imam Ash-Shatibi was an Andalusian, that's a medieval Islamic Spanish scholar. He said, فَالْبِدْعَةُ, so al-bid'ah, or heresy, then it is عبارة عن, an expression about طريقة في الدين, a path or way in the religion, مخترعة, which has been newly invented, تضاهي الشريعة, which rivals or resembles the Sharia, يقصد بالسلوك عليها, which is intended that the person follows, travels upon. المبالغة, it is extreme or something exaggerated, في التعبد لله سبحانه وتعالى, in the worship of Allah, the glorified and the exalted. So let's break it down to get an understanding. So Imam Shatibi says that this bid'ah is a tariqah fi deen. It is a path taken in the religion. Meaning, it is like a path or a way the person follows. Like we say the sunnah of the Prophet. What do we mean? The way of the Prophet, am I right? I think I'm right in saying that all of us, we want to emulate the Prophet, yes or no? This is your life effort. Am I right? Or no? Your life effort. We find Muslims who, when they draw pictures of the Prophet ﷺ, they go berserk. They burn down anything they can get their hands on, including themselves. Am I right? These same Muslims, when it comes to Milad al-Nabi, they'll spend £2,000-4,000 in sweeties and give it out. You know, a place like Leicester, if you go to Leicester, and the day of the Prophet's birthday, they have processions in the streets and everything. They spend money. But when it comes to the following the Prophet's sunnah, that which is you're obligated to do, where are they? When it comes to eating the way the Prophet ate, where are they? When it comes to spending the way the Prophet spent, where are they? When it comes to how you deal with your Muslim brother, where are they? All these things I'll take from their culture or from Western culture. And I don't need to give you a long lecture about Western culture. They subvert the sunnah for something else. But here we see bid'ah, my respected brothers and sisters, is something that is taken as a path in the religion. You follow this thing. And it is mukhtara', it is newly invented. Does it go back to the Quran? It may even go back to the Quran. Over the last 10-15 years, mashallah, the people who follow particular bid'ah, they start to write about their bid'ah. If you go onto the internet, for example, the Prophet's birthday, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, you have people written books and they collect statements from here, then everywhere to say it is permissible. They forget one important thing. Just give us an authentic hadith and that's it. You show us where in the seerah. Why is it all these scholars of Islam, they wrote books of seerah, the Prophet's biography. They never once mentioned he should celebrate his birthday. They never once mentioned there was a tablecloth and the Prophet ﷺ was at the head of it. There was Abu Bakr, Uthman, Ali, the Sahaba, all of them around, tucking into cake. How come we don't see that? It's real, isn't it? In the books of the seerah, we never heard a chapter, bab, ihtifal, Mawlid al-Nabawi. Chapter celebrating the Prophet's birthday. Talking about a list. We have the Battle of Badr, who was there. The Battle of Khandaq, who was there. The Battle of Uhud, who was there. The Prophet's birthday, no list. Does that make sense to you?
Of course.
Okay, yeah, I understand what you're saying. You got me there, bro. There's no list. The first year the Prophet's birthday was celebrated, tell us what color was the tablecloth. What did they eat? Was it lamb? Was it chicken? Was it beef? How many legs of beef was there? You would imagine that, isn't it? That meticulous detail, if it was something from the Sunnah. The reason why we don't have it, because they never celebrated it. It is the Fatimids. And the Fatimids are very interesting to study. They claim to be from Fatima. Kadhiban wa buhtana. Had nothing to do with Fatima radiallahu anha. And they were Rawafid. And you know what Rawafid do. And it is said how their leader, how can I put it, had a screw loose. So he made the day night and the night day. One of the many things that they did, subhanAllah. Made the day night, the night day. Can you imagine that? So at night time, you got to be awake. And daytime, you got to be asleep. Some Muslims are like that, by the way, especially in Ramadan. They sleep all day, they're up all night. Am I right? I asked one person, make me a sentence using the word Ramadan. He said, Ramadan is a month of fasting and sleeping. That's what some people do. Anyhow, so this is a path taken in the religion which is newly invented. No Qala Allah, no Qala Rasul, none of the Sahaba doing it. And then he said, Tudahiya Sharia, that it resembles or competes with the legislation. If you've got bid'ah, what goes away is the sunnah. This bid'ah competes with the sunnah. So, when it comes to the rituals of burial, the bid'ah that people do compete with the sunnah, isn't it? Something's got to give. We can't say we have two sons, one upon the sunnah, the other upon bid'ah. They want to bury their father. What's going to happen?
Okay.
Conflict, isn't it?
Sorry, last week there was somebody, one of the Muslims in up north, they had an argument whether to burn their father or to bury him.
Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un.
Muslim?
Yeah, Muslim. And then it was in the thing, and they had to get involved in the committee and the mosques and everything. And the two brothers were arguing. He goes, no, we're going to burn the father.
Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. I've heard in funerals fighting. Yes, I've heard it. Why? One set the family on sunnah, the other set the family on bid'ah. This one wants to bring all the bid'ah in there. These people are not having it. So they stop this group of people here. What happens? What are you talking about? This is Islam, this is the deen, this is sunnah. So sunnah's bid'ah. Big argument. People have to come in and part both sides. 1-2 hours, calming everybody down. And then you commence with the funeral. Look at that. And this is the reality. Because I was saying we just buried the person in the white cloth. No. No. Our father, we're not putting him in no cloth. He's going in a coffin. Pure oak coffin, gold handles, and no way is he being buried in no white cloth. We're burying him in a Giorgio Armani suit with a £1,000 Rolex watch, and £1,000 shoes, and £1,000 pen. Am I right? Isn't it? This is also what, I remember when I was a Christian, that was the ideal burial. The ideal burial, you see these rappers and these singers and all these artists, when they're buried, imagine, the worms must be so happy, a change of diet. They're so used to earth, now they can taste some silk for once. This is the reality. Look at those film stars, those people when they're buried. Do you think Michael Jackson was buried in a white towel cloth? Do you think James Brown was buried in an everyday suit from Hugo Boss? No. Their suits are thousands of pounds. You have Muslims doing that. So now, two brothers. One wants to bury the father, Giorgio Armani suit, £2,000. The other said, no, in a towel and cloth. What's going to happen? What's going to happen? It's going to be fighting, isn't it? One wants the sunnah, the other wants the bid'ah. So when you implement bid'ah, of course sunnah has to go, and we'll talk about it. And so this competes with with the Islamic legislation. And this is a path which intended by it is to follow it, and exaggerating in ta'abbud of Allah is connected with worship. And this is important because people come to you all smarmy and say, well, bid'ah, so having Concorde airplane is bid'ah, yeah? Have you heard that before? Or having cars is bid'ah, yeah? I never knew you used a car in worship. I never knew you used Concorde in worship. So it's aspects of religion, the deen. So a bid'ah is something that it resembles something from the Sharia, competing with the Sharia, and it's something that people follow apart thinking it's the Sunnah. The great and illustrious scholar Imam Muhammad ibn Salih al-Uthaymeen rahimahullah gave a beautiful definition of bid'ah. He said, al-bid'ah shar'an dabtaha, that bid'ah in terms of the Islamic legislation, the exact understanding of it is ta'abbud lillah bima lam yashra'uhu Allah, to worship Allah with that which Allah didn't legislate. To worship Allah with that which He didn't legislate. Did Allah legislate going to the graves, killing camels? Did He? Right, where in the Quran does it say so? Did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala legislate that the person, I listened to one of our brothers of Tasawwuf, and he said, mockingly said, they say going to the Prophet's grave is not from the pillars of Hajj. Is it from the pillars of Hajj? No, it's not from the pillars of Hajj. He said, who said it from the pillars of Hajj? It is from muhabba, it's from love. That's what he said. Look at that. So all those billions of Muslims who can't afford to go to the Prophet's grave, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, don't love the Prophet. Is that what you're saying? Ain't it? You gotta say that. Besides the point that it's not from the pillars, those things upon which the Hajj is established. Is it from my intellect? From your intellect? Well, boy, I think this pillar, we need to change it. Times have changed. Is that what we do? No. It's from the Kitab and Sunnah, not from what we think or feel. Every Muslim loves the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Who from amongst us could compete with the love? Can I say I love the Prophet more than you love the Prophet? How do we compete with each other in that love? Except for by living by the Sunnah. I can't say, well, I love the Prophet more than you. Alright, how do I prove it? Is it something you just say? Or this country, they don't love the, as they always say, Saudi Arabia doesn't love the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. If Saudi Arabia didn't love the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, they wouldn't be custodians of the two holy places. They would have turned them, like many people would, into places of bazaar. You know, where you sell and you buy? There's no better way of making money than religion. So they could charge people to go to the Prophet's grave. Am I right? They can say, okay, you want to go make dua at the Prophet's grave? £100. Am I right? How many people would pay? People would pay. The same way in the Muslim world and the non-Muslim world, you have graves. If I go to a grave in a Muslim or non-Muslim world, can I go to a grave without giving a little something? Can I? That's unheard of. You don't go to see the Badawi without any money or something to slaughter. How are people going to live if you don't bring money to the grave? Am I right? The person looks after the grave, how's he going to live? If you don't bring food, how's he going to eat? That's what they could have done, which they didn't do. They've never ever made it the place where you charge to go see the Prophet's grave. And neither did they make it the Prophet's grave or his masjid a place of worship except for in the masjid, not the grave. And so, ta'abbudillah, worship of Allah in that which He has not legislated. And if you want to, you can say, the Shaykh says, to worship Allah the Exalted with that which the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam was not upon, nor his Khulafa al-Rashid, nor the rightly guided caliphs. Not in the Quran, not in the Sunnah, and the four rightly guided caliphs, did they do it? And this is the question, am I right? I love it. Some brothers from Kenya, this year, they put out like an exam paper. And they ask questions, you know, and you're supposed to fill in the gaps. Name one, write one verse in the Quran that proves it's permissible to celebrate the Prophet's birthday. Write one hadith in the space below that proves that's permissible to celebrate the Prophet's birthday. Bring one statement of the four rightly guided caliphs, it's okay to celebrate the Prophet's birthday. We all understand that it's going to be left blank, am I right? Because they can't do it. And not just for celebrating the Prophet's birthday, which is a well-known example, many things we have. Many things that we do. Many things that people have taken as religion is not part of the religion. It may be culture, and it may be good or bad, because sometimes, for example, myself, my ancestors were polytheists. They claimed that they were people of Tawheed, of monotheism, but they worship cracker Jesus. That's who they worship. I remember, if you go to ask them, what does God look like? We know about Allah from the Quran, His names and attributes. You go to our ancestors, what does God look like? They say, God is a tall white man.
The big white beard.
Yeah, a long white beard. That's Michelangelo. That's not Allah. That's not God. That's the depiction of Michelangelo, who drew God in his own image. His meaning Michelangelo's own image, and placed that imprint in people's minds. Yeah? That's the danger of having a white Jesus on the cross. The danger of it is if Jesus is God and Jesus is white and you are black or brown, not white, what does it make you? And if you look at most of the depiction, what color is the devil? Huh? He's red or sometimes? Black. What color are evil thoughts? Evil thoughts are what color? Black. Why are they black? Why must an evil thought be black? Must it be associated with the color? I think you get my point. There's the danger of when you take religion and you base your religion on that which is not legislated. Because if you go to Genesis, forgive me, lots of Bible today. It's like a Bible class, isn't it? Go to Genesis. It tells you in Genesis that you mustn't depict God in the image of that which is on the land and the sea. In the Bible! In the Bible it tells them that. What do they do with Genesis? Put a hand over it. The Ten Commandments are interesting. They're interesting. What's interesting about them? You go to Britain First. You know Britain First? The racist organization. They went into Masajid in Luton and around England with shoes on. This is a Christian country. Am I right? Ask them to campaign for the Ten Commandments. Let's see what they do. 10 Commandments. There's no drinking alcohol in the Bible. Is there alcohol in the Bible? Is there eating pork in the Bible? No eating pork in the Bible. And do you think those people could spend one day without a slice of bacon? Nah.
So why they do this if it's not mentioned in the Bible?
As I mentioned almost every week, Paul, knowing the Bible as Saul, he changed the religion, the teaching of Jesus, so the Gentiles, the non-Jews, can come into the religion. So a disciple by Barnabas was angry with Paul. Why was he angry? Because Paul allowed the Gentiles, the non-Jews, to not be circumcised. From the laws of Moses, you're supposed to be circumcised. If you're a Christian, you should be circumcised. Also to eat pork. Barnabas in the New Testament, it says that. Barnabas was angry. Why was he angry? Because Paul allowed the Gentiles and non-Jews not to follow the laws of who? The laws of Moses. Are you with me? So they follow Paul in their understanding of their religion. Are you with me? They follow Paul. They follow Paul. Accommodating. Move away from the law to accommodate other people. Don't you see it today? Whatever the Bible says don't do it, you find some preachers say it's okay. Some of the brothers here, remember I sent out that clip about Christmas. You have, is it Jerry Falwell, well-known evangelical Christian in America. He has a mega church, thousands of people go to see him on Sundays. What did he say about Christmas? He says Saturnalia. The thing, is it something you have been saying in this message about Saturnalia? Or old? Old! He himself admitted that Christmas is a pagan faith. They said it themselves as pagan. What did he say? Well, you can celebrate Christmas. Why? How would you do that? If Jesus was here, would he celebrate Christmas? No, he wouldn't celebrate Christmas. And you got Muslims celebrating Christmas. So, he also says, so the first, that worship Allah with that which Allah himself has legislated, can be taken from the verse. Or do they have partners who legislate from them from the religion for whom they have no permission from Allah? Allah didn't give them permission. They have no justification. But they take this thing as legislation. And so, bid'ah is two things. One, according to Shaykh Uthaymin, that that worship which Allah has not legislated, or that worship that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has legislated, nor His Prophet, nor the four rightly guided caliphs. Very important principle to keep in mind. And we should teach our young children, when it comes to this religion, something up until recently everybody used to say, what's your dalil? Remember? In the 90s, everything. What's your dalil? Because we have people today who have gone to another extreme. They've left Abu Hanifa, rahmatullah alayh, and Imam Malik, rahmatullah alayh, Imam Shafi, rahmatullah alayh, Ahmad bin Hanbal, rahmatullah alayh, and they've taken contemporary scholars in their place. And when you say to them, where's the dalil? They say to you, astaghfirullah, he has doubts. But we will say this, of those people, the Ummah have agreed that Abu Hanifa, Imam Malik, Shafi, and Ahmad bin Hanbal, they're the four Imams, wherever you go. For the last, 400 years, they agree, these are the four Imams. So, when it comes to the four Imams, I heard one of these individuals, he said, I have a difference of opinion with Abu Hanifa, and nobody should say anything about that. Subhanallah. Abu Hanifa, wait, who is he to Abu Hanifa? Who is he to Abu Hanifa? But then his sheikh, if you say, well, I have a difference to your sheikh, astaghfirullah, take you out of Ahl Sunnah quicker than you can say jumping jack flashes and gas. Quicker than you can say supercalifragilistic expialidocious, you're out. Look at that. You see the mentality? Abu Hanifa, there's ijma, go against him, no problem. His sheikh, there's no ijma, the ulama today, he's an imam. Forget that level, he's an imam. There's no ijma. But if you go against his imam, khalas, you're out of the sunnah. So you have to be careful, my respected brothers and sisters. And we have to cultivate our children upon, where's your proof? Because there's nobody who has, who's infallible after our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. There's nobody. Name who you want to name. Yes? I remember I heard a tape of Sheikh Muqbil, and they said to Sheikh Muqbil rahmatullah alayh, about a particular position. Sheikh bin Baz and Sheikh Uthaymeen said so. He said, don't try to scare us with the names of men. That's what he said. Don't try to scare us with the names of men. Meaning that with all respect, I love and I respect those scholars. Where's the proof? And that's what we learned from the four Imams. And here I mean Sheikh bin Baz, Sheikh Uthaymeen, Sheikh Albani, Sheikh Muqbil. This is what they taught us. This is like the milk of the suckling child. What's the dalil? What's the proof? Because my respected brothers and sisters, if you don't ask for the proof, you yourself may be following somebody you think upon the sunnah and they're making it up. And I'm telling you, some people who ascribe themselves to sunnah, they make it up. And my proof, there's a very well-known Sheikh Ibrahim al-Ruhaili, hafidhahullah, who's the teaching of the Prophet Muhammad. They took him off the sunnah based upon hearsay. But when it was their sheikhs and their students of knowledge, now they don't accept it. Subhanallah, from the same sheikh who took Ibrahim al-Ruhaili off the sunnah, there's Ibrahim al-Ruhaili, they took it. When the same sheikh said about the people they love, nah, they didn't take it. Look at this. I have many examples like this, many examples. Making it up as you go along. You know, like that person who goes to a discotheque, astaghfirullah wa atubu ilayh, and he can't dance. So what does he do?
Just shake his body.
Either he shakes his body or just looks at what other people are doing. Or like when I first became Muslim, you can't pray. What do? You got one eye, you sutra, the other eye watching everybody. When they go down, you go down. When they go up, you go up. And that's what it seems like. They're making up as they go along. Because there's zero consistency. What we have to understand, my respected brothers and sisters, that Allah has blessed us with the completion of this religion. Allah says, Al-yawma akmaltu lakum dinakum wa atmamtu alaykum ni'mati wa radaytu lakum Islam ad-dina. This day I perfected for you your religion and completed my favor upon you and approved of you Islam as your religion. Islam is complete. We don't need anybody now to come and give us a new style of Islam. And we hear this all the time. People talking about Islam needs reform. Have you heard that before? On social media they say Islam needs reform. Here comes my question to what? What do you want? What do you want to do? Some people, they want to say, okay, here's Islam. We take this out, and this out, and this out. And what's left? Not even Salah is left. Why do they want Salah? 5 times. 5 times a day? Make it optional. What about fasting Ramadan? What? Fasting the whole day? Make that optional. Are you with me? What about Hajj? Too much money. £2,000? Man, people could buy mobile phones, buy clothing. Make it optional. That's what they would do with religion if they had their way. Everything would be optional. What you want to do, you do. What I want to do, I do. And we all become Muslims, stay Muslim. So the nation of Islam can say Allah came in the form of a man. Elijah Muhammad is the messenger. That's alright, isn't it? Hell no! That's not alright. But that's what it leads to. When we start talking about reform, nation of Islam believe that we believe in spook. Like a ghost God. Reform it. Make it a tangible God. Make God a man. That's what they believe. They believe that Fard Muhammad, who came to Chicago 1930s, is God. And Fard Muhammad, his father is Allah. His father is Allah. His name is Alfonso. And he went up in the Caucasus Mountains. I could have been making this stuff up. He went up into the Caucasus Mountains and he had a baby with a woman called Baby G. And they produced Fard Muhammad, who's Allah. And Elijah Muhammad taught every 25,000 years there's a new Quran and a new Allah. That's what he taught. So when you open the door to reform, how do you keep this out? How? How do you keep this out? You can't keep this out. It's got to come in, isn't it? So you have somebody stand up today in Hyde Park. I am the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, isn't it? If you open the door, you can't close it. Same with authority. You open the door that anyone could be the Islamic authority. So ISIS are justified to go in the Quran and make tafsir on their distorted mind. That's what you've done. And the person who believes that marriage can be of any configuration. If a man wants to marry a cow, what's the problem with that? As long as they love each other, so he loves her, and she's always going, there must be love there.
Romance.
You get me, yeah? You get me? They go to a church or go to a masjid. Do you take this cow to be a lawful wedded wife? I do. Do you take this man to be a lawful wedded husband? You get me? As crazy as it sounds, when you open the door, there's no closing of the door. Everything has to come in. You can't criticize ISIS or Al-Qaeda or Jamaat al-Jihad or the guy who wants to marry a cow. Once you open that door, the door is open for everybody to come in. But the door doesn't need to be open because Allah perfected for us, conveyed upon us. And Ibn Kathir, he says, and this is the greatest blessings of Allah that exalted upon this nation, as He has completed, the exalted has completed for them their religion, so that they have no need of any other religion, nor do they have any need of any prophet other than their prophet. Salutations of Allah and peace be upon him. And this is the problem, because you have people who will come in and they'll say to you that, yeah, it's okay to have multiplicity of prophets. Am I right? If you open the door, which we find in the West, the embracing of the Qadianis, and there's no problem having a prophet after Muhammad, am I right? Then you got to open the same door for the nation of Islam, Elijah Muhammad. If you go and accept Ahmed Mirza Ghulam of Qadian, you've got to accept Elijah Muhammad. Why is it they don't accept Elijah Muhammad? It's because Elijah Muhammad was a black nationalist who said all white people are devils. That's why I don't accept him. But you got to accept Elijah Muhammad. If you open the door to the Qadianis, you've got to then recognize and open the door to the nation of Islam. You can't open here and close there. You've got to open there. But Islam has been perfected. In Islam, we have only one prophet. Closed. Both of them closed. And so, from his greatest blessings that he has completed this religion. And the person who falls into bid'ah does an innovation, something we said that is not legislated by Allah, or not legislated by Allah, not legislated by the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, nor the four rightly guided caliphs. They weren't upon that. Then the person falls into bid'ah, and that bid'ah will be rejected. In a hadith that's been narrated by our mother Aisha radiallahu anha, collected by Imam Bukhari and Muslim, our beloved Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said, "Man ahdatha fi amrina hadha ma laysa minhu, fahuwa radd." Whoever invents or brings something new in this affair of ours, meaning the religion, which is not from it, it shall be rejected. The great scholar Ibn al-Hafidh Ibn Rajab al-Hanbali, may Allah have mercy upon him, he said in his book Jami' Ulum al-Hikam, he said in respect to this hadith, fi kulli man ahdatha shay, whoever invents something, of course in the religion, wa nasabahu, and ascribes it in a deen to the religion, wa lam yakun lahu asl min ad-din, and there is no foundation of this thing in the religion, yarja ilayhi fahuwa dalala, then it returns back to him and it is misguidance. So whoever brings something new, the reward you're looking for goes back to yourself. There is no reward. It's rejected. This action is rejected. Also, we learn in the hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam about this rejection in a hadith again narrated by our mother Aisha radiallahu anha and collected by Imam Muslim. The Prophet said sallallahu alaihi wasallam, "Man amila amilan laysa alayhi amrana fahuwa radd." Whoever does an action which is not from our actions or deeds, whoever does an action which is not from our action and deeds, whoever does an action and it is not from our order or our command or affair, then it is rejected by Allah. So whoever does an action, not legislated, no kitab, no sunnah, no sahaba, no tabi'in, atba' tabi'in, then it is rejected. And this is important, because many times you have an imam who learnt through tradition, and you ask the imam, after salah, when you're doing a dua, you wipe your eyebrows, your eyelids. Where's that from? What will he say? Anybody? What will he say? What somebody answered? He will say hadith. Am I right? Say hadith. But the hadith is not authentic. It's not authentic. Am I right? So they will say, well, no. We found our scholars doing it, so we do it. That's it. The terminus, the ending goes back to culture and tradition. Is Islam based upon culture and tradition? Can you imagine? If Islam was based upon culture and tradition, what would Islam look like with the hip-hop generation? Can you imagine that? Isn't it? All those ayat about killing and murder, what would happen to them? Nah fam. Out. Isn't it? If we understood Islam according to this generation today, the hip-hop generation, they're like killing each other. So all those ayat that talk about killing and murder, nah. Out. So if you kill somebody, there's no hellfire for you. It's just a big sin. Isn't it? If you base it upon people's intellect and understanding and feelings and tastes, that's what would happen. The Prophet told us, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, whoever does the action of innovation, that it should be rejected.
Good or bad, yeah?
Sorry.
Good or bad is rejected.
I don't understand. What would a bad thing look like?
Because I think there is a hadith said, Man sanna
Yeah.
hasana فلا أجزي وأجر من عمل بها ومن سن سنة سيئة فلا.
But I think sunnah here means a way or a path or something, a deed that is
Good
done.
action, yeah.
Whoever does something that's not from the religion, whether they see it as good or bad, is rejected. You with me? It may be good in the sense that they feel there's reward for it, or maybe bad because it makes hardship or difficulty upon themselves for which they get rewards. They say, okay, they bring a hadith which is fabricated, that whoever prays in the sun will get double reward. So you see him out there, Dhuhr, in a hot African country or Middle Eastern country, it's 50 degrees and he's there praying, yeah? They're wobbling around the place just praying to get reward. There is no hadith as such, and it'll be rejected. All you get is sunburn. Yeah? All you get is sunburn. Are you with me? And Allah knows best. And so, Ibn Rajab al-Hanbali on this hadith, he said, Man kana amaluhu kharjan an ash-shar'. Whoever does a deed which is out or beyond that which is legislated, and laysa muqayyidan bi-shar', and it is not restricted by the Sharia, فَهُوَ مَرْدُودٌ, then it is rejected. Imagine this, and this is the danger of bid'ah. You do an action of bid'ah, for example, praying in the sun, in the hot sun, the Zanzibari sun. Is it hot in Zanzibar after Dhuhr? A little bit hot or real hot? Hot, yeah? So a man, he says, okay, I'm going to pray, trying to get close to Allah. I want to pray 30 rak'ah in the sun after Dhuhr outside. Each rak'ah will last for 50 ayat. Yeah? He does this for 30 years. Imagine.
If you
30
be
years.
still alive.
Huh?
If you will be still alive.
Inshallah, if he's still alive, I think you can hack it. But imagine that, yes? He hopes he meets Allah with big reward, am I right? But is it legislated? No. Rather, it's rejected. Same with those people who are from the Sufi order of the Tijaniyah. They have Surah Al-Fatih, their supplication. And they believe that supplication that they make, the word, it's more reward than the Quran, more reward than Fatiha, more reward than Quran. Imagine that. He says, I have the ability to read the Quran, 10th of the Quran every day, and I can complete it in 30 days. He says, no, I'm not going to read the Quran, I'm going to read Salat al-Fatih, I think they call it. So, rather than read the Quran, he reads this supplication, thinking that by reading it, he's getting more reward than the Quran. And he does this for 30 years and he dies and meets his Lord. How will he meet his Lord? And this is the reality of bid'ah. Because in many countries in the Muslim world, people follow this second. I listened to a lecture of a sheikh who came from a country, he said, on the border of 2 Muslim countries. And he went there to discuss with his people because they believed that they were in Jannah. So he said to them, let's go pray. Pray? What do I need to pray for? All my sins are forgiven, I'm in Jannah. Fast? Don't need to fast. Don't need to fast. I've been promised to Jannah. Look at that. And we have some of these mystical orders. That's what they tell their people, isn't it? When I first became Muslim, I never pronounced it. Naqshbandi. Is that right? Naqshbandi? I never ever get it right. Huh? It resonates, huh? So I would say to the brother who was the murid, the one in need of the sheikh, I would say to him, brother, I want to learn to pray. He said, no, I need to do it later on. Read the books of the sheikh. Ramadan comes. You know Ramadan, when I first was a Muslim, I would break my fast maybe 10 o'clock in the evening. I look outside, a bit of light. Nah. No time to break your fast. When it's pitch black, now's the time to break my fast. Ignorance. So I would say to him, I want to learn how to fast and this stuff. But don't worry about it. Read. He said, read the books of the sheikh. That's the worst mistake he ever made. You know, it's like people say to you, read the Bible. When you read the Bible, you see the reality. I read the books of the Sheikh, and that's another story. They're delaying and delaying and delaying. Delaying. Imagine now, if I didn't learn to pray or fast or anything, and I just spent my life just imitating people, reading the books of the Sheikh, thinking this is Islam, what would I be today? Isn't it? Imagine if I died upon that. And this is the reality. Because people like me, they're many. They're millions. You know, you feel sick, someone says to you, look, you need to go to so-and-so person. When you go to so-and-so person, the first question says to you, what's your mother's name? What's your grandmother's name? What's this? This is a?
Sahir.
Brothers, what is this? What's your mother's name? What's your grandmother's name? What is that? That's a magician. Remember we did the thing about magic? He's a magician. He goes, here, take this. When you wake up, kiss it, say Fatiha over it. Look at that. Protecting yourself with bid'ah. The problem may even disappear. Look at that. And you spend 30 years saying Fatiha over it. Keeping it on your body. Keeping it on your person. You know, our families who claim to be Christian, they interpolate, they mix traditional African religion with Christianity. They have what they call obia, or you call it in Africa juju. It's perfectly fine to be a Christian who goes to church on a Sunday and do obia at the same time. Yeah? And when I look at these Nigerian churches, it's the same thing. When you watch them, all they talk about, juju, 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 juju. They talk more about juju than Christ.
What is juju?
Juju, magic, sihr.
Okay.
And our parents, our grandparents, they would do that. They would do magic. For example, if you can't sleep at night and you wake up with scratches in your body, what do? Yeah, you do witchcraft. You don't read no Bible. You don't seek refuge in Allah. You do witchcraft. I'm not going to tell you what you do. And our parents, they teach us little tricks, little things to do. If this happens to you, you do this. If that happens to you, you get turpentine. They love turpentine. You know turpentine? They love turpentine. I remember back in the 90s, we used to do dawah. So the brothers had an incense store. Incense. You know incense? Sweet smelling fragrance. Every Saturday, guaranteed, some old Caribbean person will come and say, do you have frankincense and myrrh? Traditional incense from the Bible. Guaranteed, somebody will come and say, every time I go there, someone will come and say, do you have something to chase the duppy away? Chase the duppy means ghosts. They do that. They have people who do the magic. They say to you, if you're bewitched, they make all kinds of concoction of different chemicals and stuff and food coloring, and they bathe you. See it with my own two eyes. They bathe you. They pour this concoction all over you, and they wipe you down, rub you down. And they give you a buckle to send you on the way, and a bill of £200 to £300. And they see no contradiction in doing that and being a practicing a good Christian. Not just a Christian, a good Christian. But this is what happens when you open the doors, my respected brothers, to bid'ah. And we have it all over the Muslim world. All over the Muslim world, where they have juju. In a Muslim country. And so it is. Also, we learn from the Sunnah that every innovation, every bid'ah, it leads to the hellfire. Our beloved Prophet told us in the hadith that has been narrated by Jabir ibn Abdullah and collected by Nasa'i, authenticated by Imam Al-Albani, where the Prophet says, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, وَكُلَّ بِدْعَةٍ وَكُلَّ مُحْدَثَةٍ بِدْعَةٍ, and every newly invented matter in religion, وَكُلَّ مُحْدَثَةٍ بِدْعَةٍ, and every newly invented matter in religion is a heresy, a bid'ah. وَكُلَّ بِدْعَةٍ ضَلَالَةٍ, and every bid'ah is misguidance. وَكُلَّ ضَلَالَةٍ فِي النَّارِ, and every misguidance is in the hellfire. And so, every bid'ah, none of it is hasanah, all of it is bad, sayyah. And we have to be careful. We explained this last week and the week before. The hadith of Umar radiallahu anhu. Explained this last week and the week before. the hadith of Umar radiallahu anhu, collected by Imam Bukhari, and it goes, where Abdul Rahman ibn Abdul Qari, he said, I went out in the company of Umar ibn al-Khattab radiallahu anhu one night in Ramadan to the mosque, and I found the people praying in different groups. A man praying alone, or a man praying with a little group behind him. So Umar said, in my man praying alone, or a man praying with a little group behind him. So Umar said, in my opinion, I would better collect these people praying behind their reciter. On that, Umar remarked, he said, what an excellent bid'ah this is. But the prayer which they did not perform but sleep at its time is better than the one they are offering. He meant the prayer in the last part of the night. And so we see, Umar said, this is a ni'am al-bid'ah hadihi. What an excellent bid'ah this is. And we said, and we'll be brief. One, concerning this hadith, the great scholar Imam Abdul Aziz bin Baz, he said, this is in respect, this saying, the word bid'ah is in respect to the Arabic language. Umar radiallahu anhu, he meant the Arabic expression of it, not the legislated expression. Why? Because the Tarawih, the night prayer, was prayed at the time of the Prophet congregation. How can it be a bid'ah? We said, bid'ah is something that is not legislated by Allah or the Prophet ﷺ, or something that the folk rightly gave credit to upon. Well, at the time of the Prophet ﷺ, they had that. They prayed Tarawih. So how could it be bid'ah? How could it be something newly invented? How could it be something new? How could it be something for the first time? It is not. Yes? So what he meant was the linguistic meaning. And so, if we look to the statements of the Salaf, the past predecessors, we get a comprehensive understanding of the danger of bid'ah. From them, Sufyan al-Thawri, who died in the year 1, danger of bid'ah. From them, Sufyan al-Thawri, who died in the year 161, and he said, and this is very important, al-bid'atu ahabbu ila iblis min al-masiyah. Wa alaikum salam. That bid'ah is more beloved to Iblis, shaitan, than sin. Why? Well, masiyatu yutab that must repent from it. And he smokes drugs, is he ever goes watch a flick on Netflix and he smokes drugs, is he ever going to say that's halal? That's from the sunnah? No. He's going to say, well boy, I'm weak, or astaghfirullah. He knows he's sinning. Astaghfirullah is part of making tawbah, istighfar, and then you do the other conditions of tawbah, isn't it? He's not going to say, well boy, this is deen, unless he's really deviated. Am I right? So he repents from it. Then he said, Sufyan al-Thawri said, when ma'asiyah tabu minha, that ma'asiyah sin, the person repents from it. When tabu minha, that ma'asiyah sin, the person repents from it. When bid'atu la yutabu minha, and the person has bid'ah, they don't make repentance from it. They think it's the deen. They practice it all the time. They teach their children it, so you see their children wiping their eyebrows. All the other aspects of bid'ah, see their children wiping their eyebrows. All the other aspects of bid'ah. You see the man go to the grave, he flicks a coin in the grave, his little son next to him flicking coins in the grave as well. He doesn't repent from it. So this is the evil of bid'ah. Sins, we know what's right and wrong. Most Muslims, we have a good fair idea. For example, if I have a bacon sandwich, it's not on. Am I right? Yes or no? No one comes and says to you, even non-Muslims, you go to non-Muslims and say, can Muslims eat bacon? They all say, nah, fam. Can Muslims drink alcohol? Nah. I remember on YouTube, it was Facebook, there was a video clip of a guy goes into, Friday night, goes into off license, buys Bacardi, buys Hennessy, all the range of different alcoholic drinks. And the guy goes, aren't you going to get these crisps? Haribos, that's what I keep from forgetting. How are you going to get these crisps? Haribos, that's what I keep from forgetting. Haribos. And he goes, oh no fam, look. It's got gelatin in it. Yeah? He just bought half the off license. 1 one bottle of Bacardi, one bottle of vodka, 2 bottles of whiskey, 3 bottles of champagne, 20 cans of beer. But when it comes to Haribos, not gelatin in it. But you know something. But when it comes to Haribos, not gelatin in it. But you know something. That's the reality, though. That is the reality of Muslims.
I thought it's again fabricated.
Nah.
It's not logistically.
Nah. Muslims do that. Muslims do that. You find a Muslim drinking, you offer him pork, he won't eat it. You get me? Like that young kid, he said, I keep it 100% halal. But this is a reality. So the person who drinks alcohol in general, he knows he's sinning. Or he doesn't know he's sinning. He knows it's haram. Somewhere along the journey of his life, someone said, alcohol is haram. Someone said to him, E471, pork, gelatin is haram. Along that journey, am I right? Smoking weed is haram. Everyone knows it. No one says it's halal. You ever hear people recite the Quran while smoking weed? We're not Rastafarians. I could tell you some stories. Yes? When back in the 90s, there's some of the mad stuff people said they did. Yeah? Because they believe drugs, they give you an inner dimension. Gives you inner feeling. Like LSD, like weed gives you inner feeling. So I heard some people try some mad things. But we all know it's simple, am I right? A person may smoke weed, they're not going to come and say it's halal. They're doing their thing and it's a sin. However, what about bid'ah? The person will do all matters of bid'ah and they never make repentance. At least a person who smokes, drinks, does zina, he's stuck for that in his heart. He knows it's bad, but he wants to do it, he does it. Or she wants to do it, she doesn't. But bid'ah, the person thinks this is deen. They never repent from it, and this is the danger of bid'ah. Also, the person who does a bid'ah is suggesting or intimating that the Prophet did not complete his obligation of completing the religion. And Imam Malik, the great and illustrious Imam who died in the year 161, he said, Man ibtada' fil islami bid'ah, whoever brings something new in this religion, which is a heresy, yuraha hasana, and he sees it being good, faqad zama, then he has lied or claimed anna Muhammad, that Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam khana risala, that he has betrayed his trust of giving the message. So whoever brings an innovation in Islam and seeing it as being a good thing, and how many people did that? There were people who fabricated hadith because they said, well, I found the people being lazy or lackadaisical about the sunnah before Fajr prayer. So they fabricated hadith about it. Fabricated hadith. And they saw certain actions, people were leaving off, becoming busy with dunya. So they fabricated hadith to encourage people to do it or people to stay away from it. Whoever eats pork, his belly will become the size of a masjid and it will explode in the hellfire. For example, bringing these type of hadith to scare people. It's not a hadith. It's a lie against the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So whoever brings a bid'ah to this religion, they're intimating, they're trying to say that the Prophet didn't do what he was sent for, to complete the religion. In Christianity, it says in the Bible that Jesus said, there's much I have to tell you, you can't bear it now. Proof that everything they did has no basis in Christianity. If you're talking about the teachings of Jesus, Jesus never had a church. Jesus never called himself a Christian. He's from the children of Israel. Am I right? It says, at Antioch they called themselves Christian. They called themselves. He didn't call himself Christian. That's Bible I'm talking, pure Bible. So my respected brothers and sisters, our Prophet came and he completed the religion. There's no need for anything. And like I said, the danger of reform, when you open that door, you've got to open this door here. If I have authority to speak about Islam, so does ISIS, and everybody else have the authority. If my Islam is legitimate, whatever I think in my mind, so is ISIS's Islam legitimate. Do we accept that? No, of course not. That's a dangerous door to open. Then anybody's legitimate. You can't say, well, ISIS ain't legitimate. How can you say that if you open the door for everybody? If you open the door, what's special about you? You can make Islam up as you go along, but they can't do it? That's ridiculous. This is the danger. That's why we close this door, we close that door, we stick to the Kitab and the Sunnah as understood by the first 3 generations of Islam. Another important thing, my respected brothers and sisters, the danger of bid'ah, that it precipitates the demise of the Sunnah, it causes the demise of the Sunnah. Abdullah ibn Abbas is reported to have said, radiyallahu anhu, ma ata ala nas it will not come upon the people a year, illa ahdathu fihi bid'ah, except for therein they invent a heresy, a bid'ah, wa amatu fihi sunnah, and this precipitates or causes the death or the demise of the sunnah, hatta tahya al bid'ah, until the bid'ah is alive, wa tamut al sunnah, and the sunnah is dead. Look at that. So Abu Abbas, and he, as if he was seeing us today, that there will come a year upon the people except that they invented it, a bid'ah. And this kills the sunnah until the bid'ah is alive and the sunnah is dead. As if he was looking at us today. Look at us. Many places you go, many massages you go, many countries you go, bid'ah. The bid'ah is the religion and the sunnah is dead. Sunnah is dead. You go to some Muslim countries, you feel stranger there than you are here. That's sad. Why? Over here, you practice Islam, no one says anything to you. Does anyone say anything to you? Wallahi alhamd. You go pray in the masjid, no one says to you, don't go to masjid and pray. Except for some extremists, some white supremacist extremists. No one stops you. You want to build a masjid, you've been planning, build a masjid. And that's why I always say you have to remember the blessing that we have in this country. You go to the hospital and say, look, I don't want no man touching my wife. Does anyone touch your wife? No, you have dignity. You go to the hospital and say, look, an x-ray, I'd like to have a female technician. Does anyone say, what the, oh, why? No, you can't have, no. I said, okay, they understand where you're coming from. You have dignity. A lot of things that we're blessed with. But we see here that there's no, if you want to wear a thobe, no one can tell you, the government's not going to come, Theresa May's not going to say, you ain't wearing a thobe, take it off. Nobody. But you go to some Muslim countries, you wear a thobe, they say, extremist. You go pray Salat al-Fajr, they say, extremist. You grow a beard, what do they say as soon as you get in the airport? Extremist. Look at these things they claim people are extremists. They don't realize that extremists don't wear beards and don't have thobes. An extremist is going to commit an action of terrorism, is going to wear cut downs and have a ponytail and a big tattoo. That's the reality. But we are, respected brothers and sisters, the death of the sunnah. And the bid'ah becomes the sunnah. If you look at some people that practice Islam, we ask God to protect us and to protect you and to protect them. And to guide us and to guide you and guide them. And it's not that they have bad intention, they have very good intention. But because they're the shiuch of fitna, the shiuch of bid'ah said this is the sunnah, they believe and they respect them and they follow that opinion. Also, and last of all, we've got a couple of minutes, let me see. Last of all, I'll bring one more. The danger of bid'ah, my respected brothers and sisters, is that it causes the spilling of blood. Abu Qallaba, who is a tabi'i, he said, Mabtada qawmin bid'ah, there is not a people who have invented a bid'ah illa istahallu, except for they make permissible fiha as-sayf, they make permissible by it the sword. And Ayyub as-Sikhtiyani, another great scholar, he said, al-Khawarij, and he meant those people who are the Khawarij, the extremists who kill other Muslims and other people. He also meant by extension the people of bid'ah. They differ in their name and they come together upon the sword. And we see this with people like the un-Islamic State. And we see this with people like Boko Haram. Wallahi Boko Halal. We see with these people, with their bid'ah, they're not satisfied with practicing their bid'ah for themselves. They want to kill people who don't follow their bid'ah. They want to kill people who don't follow their bid'ah. If you don't follow Islam how they believe it, you become a target. Look at that. And other groups and other sects. Ihsan al-Zahir, who spoke against the Rawafid and wrote books about them. He wrote books. Okay, someone speaks bad about Islam. What do? I challenge them to a debate or write a book. Am I right? I write a book. So, Ihsan al-Zahir, a Pakistani scholar, he wrote books against the different sects. What was their response to him? They killed him, they blew him up while he was giving a lecture. They blew him up while he was giving a lecture on stage. And it's recorded. You go on the internet, you can find it. His last speech. Here, boom! Why they blow him up? One, he goes against them, and two, they know for a fact they couldn't come up against him. He's a lion. What happens if you stick your head in the mouth of the lion? You get chopped alive. You're eaten alive. He's a lion. And he throws, from their books, he showed where they distorted their religion. Some people can't handle criticism. And they went berserk and they blew him up. And this is what we have. When you open the so-called reform of Islam, like I've shown, I hope, has it been clear today, my thing about reform? When you open that door to so-called reform, everybody can enter. And when you open that door to reform, what happens? Some people take it upon themselves. You don't like Islam, you don't love Islam the way I love Islam. You don't follow my type of Islam, so you're a target. And we have this in the history of Islam, where people of innovation, of bid'ah, what's the first thing they do? They make takfir of each other. This one's a kafir, that one's a kafir, this one's a kafir, this one's an apostate, that one's an apostate. That's what they do, the first thing they do. If you say, well boy, that's not from the Sunnah, he's a Wahhabi, apostate. Am I right? Find a name for you. But this is what happens with my respected brothers and sisters when you open the door to bid'ah. When you open the door to bid'ah, can I do one more or do I have to stop? One more?
Sheikh Sulaiman.
Is that okay, Sheikh Sulaiman? One more? Okay. Last of all, Jazakumullah khair for being patient. I know every Saturday I prolong it a bit. Am I right? Y'all have to be a bit more patient with me. The last one. We will finish this topic of bid'ah. And I hope today I've shown and emphasized the danger of bid'ah. And when you open the door to bid'ah, it's hard to close. The danger of bid'ah, my respected brothers and sisters, it causes one to speak in accordance to it. Abu Uthman an-Naysaburi, who died in the year 298, a great scholar, he said, he who obligates upon himself with the sunnah, statement and action, he speaks with wisdom. And the one who obligates upon himself vain desires, al-hawa, meaning bid'ah, he speaks with bid'ah. This is due to the statement of the exalted, and if you obey him, you will be rightly guided. So if you obey him, the Prophet ﷺ will be rightly guided. And what happens if you disobey him? You'll be in misguidance, isn't it? You'll be in misguidance. So the person who speaks with vain desires and with bid'ah, they act in accordance to it. And we ask Allah to protect us all from bid'ah and the people of bid'ah. Jazakumullah khair for being very patient with me. Until next week, inshallah ta'ala. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.